Hello and welcome back to the course on colors for data scientists. So in the previous tutorial, we created this lovely visualization, and what we used to help us out was the tool called Peloton, and we created it using, or we applied it using a split complementary color scheme. As you can see, there's red and there's green, blue. So this is a split complementary color scheme, and we used this palette that it generated for us. So very scientifically and smartly colored our points to make the trends actually stand out. So here we've got the kids which are 8 to 12 and their response to the vitamin dosage that they were receiving. We've got the kids which are 12 to 14 and their response to vitamin dosage. And here we've got the kids who are 15 to 18 and their response to vitamin dosage. And then in the background, we've got all the adults, the men and women, where there are no evident trends, which therefore they're colored in very similar colors, blue and green, but yet you can still see them that they're different. You can see the different types of green, blue, and so on. So this is a very, very powerful visualization in the sense that it's got 9 different colors, and at the same time, you are portraying the insights. The insights are not lost in the myriad of colors, and at the same time, the categories are not lost because you do have different colors for each category. So that's what we did previously, and today we're going to look at a bit of a different approach you could take to this visualization, right? So let's go through the trends again. So there's our 8 to 12, 12 to 14, and 15 to 18. There's our men 18 to 24, men 25 to 34, 35 to 60. As you can see, there's no trends for men. And there's our women. You can see that there's no trends again for women. So what you might want to do is, what is this business challenge about? This is, or even scientific research challenge about this, is a new drug, a new vitamin that has been released, and you're trying to analyze its effectiveness on different on different age groups and different genders, right? So children are all together, and then you've got the men and women, and you have already kind of identified that there's no effect on men and women. The main effect is on children. So maybe that's what you want to portray. Maybe you don't want to portray all of these subcategories for men and women like we did here, even though this is a fantastic visualization. But maybe the goal of your analysis is to portray only where there is a trend and focus just on those things instead of, like maybe the people that are going to be reading your presentation, they don't need to see that instances when there isn't a trend, right? So here you can see that there is no trend for men 25 to 34 because you can just see, look at the blue. But maybe they don't want to that. They don't want to distinguish between the categories that have no trends in them. And in that case, things become a bit easier, or they allow you a bit more flexibility. So we're going to go back to Peloton. And now, instead of using a split complementary color scheme, what we can use is we can just use a triad color scheme. So let's go just peloton.com, or you can feel free to use the Adobe Color for this and use the triad scheme here which they have the option. But we're going to stick to Peloton for now, and so just select the triad scheme here, and just make sure your distance in degrees. So there's one main color, which is this one in the middle, and then these ones, they kind of like move away. So you can see that's the distance in degrees. So that's an adjacent color scheme. And if you put it at about 60 degrees, so it has to be at 60 degrees, then they are all, equidistant from each other. And so now if you spin around, you've got a triad color scheme. And that's amazing because that will allow us to pick 3 colors which are which none of which contrast each other more than the other 2, right? So no pair of these 2 colors at any point in time will contrast each other more than the way they contrast with other colors. So it's always they're always equal in this combination, and that's what we're going to apply here. So we're going to go to colors, edit colors, and we're going to just take men and women, and we're going to pick for them just a gray. Just gray them out, right? So they're there, but they're not important, right? So already you can see this is pretty cool, right? So this is pretty cool. You've got the red, pink, red, and dark red. But the problem here is that the pink is a tint, right? As we learned in the course, the pink is a tint of red, and this is a shade of red. So this pink is closer to gray, and this dark red is closer to gray than this red. So what that does is makes this red stand out. Or you could deliver this presentation, and maybe let's take a screenshot and add it to our collection as well. Right, so we'll take a screenshot, add it to our collection, which we'll be analyzing further down. So there's our screenshot, but in this case, this red stands out too much. And that's why we're going to apply the triad color scheme that we've just picked. So feel free to pick any triad color scheme. Just remember that the distance here should be 60. And then pick your own triad color scheme. Maybe move this into the more saturated area to make it more kind of brighter. But like just pick any triad color scheme that you like. You know, maybe it can be yellow, blue, and red. Maybe it can be a bit more into the orange space. Whichever you feel is going to look good for your presentation. Might be working well with the other colors you might have. And so there we go. Let's say I want to pick this one. Very simple. Copy from here and paste it in. So which way we're going to go? So let's say that's the youngest group of children, middle group, and that's the oldest group of children. Just paste it in here. Then which one was the middle one? That was the middle group of children. That's these points. And where did that color wheel go? And then here we're going to take the yellow for the youngest group of kids. Paste it in. Very simple, straightforward. Apply. And voila, you have a working color scheme, right? So you might be tempted, if you were doing this not scientifically, if you were doing this just at random, you might be tempted to make this one red, right? But if you analyze the color wheel, then imagine the yellow, you keep the yellow, you keep the blue, this blue that we chose, and then you put the red here. All of a sudden, the red is very similar to the yellow, and you've got a very weird kind of color scheme, which is not even one of the 6 basic or 6 main color schemes which we discussed in the course. And all of a sudden, this yellow and red, they will start to look similar, making the blue pop out more. In this case, you are guaranteed that you're using colors which are equal, which none of these trends is more important than the other. And that is very important, especially if that's what you want to portray. You want to portray that, look, we found these 3 trends, and they are equivalently important because, you know, each of the groups was susceptible to this vitamin in their own unique way. That's what we want to portray. We don't want to let one of them stand out. And that's the beauty of the triad color scheme. And then you've got all these points in the background, which are not that important. So there we go. That's how we apply the specific tools that we've been working with, like Peloton, to create some very impactful and popping visualizations. That's what we're focusing on this course. And I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, happy analyzing.